ॐ सच्चिदानन्द ॐ सच्चिदानन्द ॐ सच्चिदानन्द. Namaste and welcome to the session number 5, Spiritual Aspects of Agnihotra. Last time we discussed the first of the 8 mantras called as Ishwar Stuti Prarthanopasana, namely Om Vishwani Dev Savita Duyatani Parasu. To the layperson, this mantra probably will fall in the classification of Ishwar Prarthana, as if we are seeking Savita Dev's help in getting rid of all our pain and suffering, bad habits, and other bad things that reside in our mind domain. And may it be placed with the positivity. Sounds like a statement in the nature of prayer. We are seeking his help. But when we read the meaning and commentary by Maharishi Dayanand, he specifically mentioned that upasana से ऐसा हो सकता है. The whole mantra changes its direction, that merely asking for something doesn't bring any help. We have to do our part. And if we want to wash away impurities from our mind, then we should submit our mind as a system to Him for washing and servicing. Like we submit our automobile to a good expert mechanic who keeps it for a couple of hours and then hands it over back to us. Now it is in a much better condition. We can feel it as we drive it. Because he is expert, may not be aware of certain faults, but he can find out and rectify it. So is true with our mind. We may not even be aware of our weaknesses, impurities, all kinds of temptations and cravings. All these are classified as klesh. Klesh is something that makes me enjoy life in the world. It's not a bad thing. But then it one day becomes impurities. When I am willing to harm others for my own personal gain. So Patanjali's treatise on Yoga Sutra, Yoga Darshan, deals with how upasana can help me get rid of both klesh and even if it has transformed into ashuddhi, impurities. And that's what Maharishi Dayanand points out in that commentary. So it is very important to understand these slight subtle differences that is possible with the help of Maharishi Dayanand. That's why we have so much regards for him. He is a rishi who came on the earth after a gap of 5,000 plus years. So we have very high regards for him. Let's go further to the second mantra in this series. Om Hiranyagarbha Samavartatage Bhutasya Jata Pati Ekaya Asit Sadadhara Prithivim Dyamute Mam Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhem. Unfortunately, I do not have that part of Maharishi Dayanand's commentary on the Yajurveda. This is Yajurveda 13th chapter, 4th mantra. Unfortunately, I don't have that particular part. So I am reading it out from his translation in Panch Mahayajnavidhi, which is also significant. But here I have only one paragraph, kind of word meaning. The last week I benefited from the word meaning, padarth, as well as bhavarth. But today I have only padarth, the word meaning. Let me read out that whole paragraph. But it is interesting, even here, while translating Kasmai Devaya Visha Videma, he is bringing in the terminology of Yoga Bhyas, that Upasana. Let me read this paragraph to you. जो हिरण्यगर्भ स्वप्रकाश स्वरूप और जिसने प्रकाश करने हाय सूर्य चंद्रमादि पदार्थ उत्पन्न करके धारण किए हैं, जो भूतस्य उत्पन्न हुए संपूर्ण जगत का जातः प्रसिद्ध पति स्वामी एक एक ही चेतन स्वरूप आसीत था, जो अज्ञेय सब जगत के उत्पन्न होने से पूर्व समवर्ततः वर्तमान था, जो सह सो इमाम इस पृथ्वी भूमि उत और द्याम सूर्यादि को दाधार धारण कर रहा है। हम लोग उस कसमई सुख स्वरूप देवाय शुद्ध परमात्मा के लिए हविषा ग्रहण करने योग्य योगाभ्यास और अति प्रेम से विधेम विशेष भक्ति किया कहें. So let's try to make sense out of this, benefiting from what we have just now read from Maharishi Dayanand's translation of this Ved mantra, the number 2. The first one broadly places us just like a child is very confident that if any pain or suffering strikes him, he has a place to go, namely his mother and his father. He knows that they will take care of my all problems, take away my pain, and they may even give me some sort of pleasure and happiness. That same confidence we ought to develop with that Supreme Being, Savita Dev. The first mantra was in that nature, that if there is something going wrong with us in the life that we lead, then we should turn to Him, that Supreme Being. Now, in the remaining 7 months, we will see further clarification. Why is it important to turn to Him only? So, this is the second month where He has been given another name, namely Hiranyagarbha. And this mantra basically describes the state of affair in this universe even before the world came into existence. Just like a child is very confident that even before I came into existence, my mother and my father were there. They had built a home to welcome me, and they had equipped that household with all kinds of things that I would need in my life. The same thing applies to us and to that Supreme Being. And with that confidence, we are saying to Him, You are Hiranyagarbha. Hiranya is something shining, also a word for gold, and Garbh is the womb, the mother's womb that carries the baby. So here the analogy is very interesting that yes, we benefit from the shining sun, the moon, and so many stars and galaxies. But just like the moon, for example, we know it, we are told by the scientists, moon doesn't have its own light, it doesn't emit its own light. It merely reflects the light falling upon itself from the sun, and that makes it bright in the evening sky. So the light it is emitting is not its own light, it is borrowed from the sun. And then we are, that's what is the gist of this particular month. Even the sun, so to say, doesn't have its own light. It is emitting the light given to it by somebody else. And that somebody else is holding the sun within its womb. That's why that Supreme Being, the consciousness, is Hiranyagarbha. And Maharishi Dayananda has rightly translated it as Swapakash Swarup. That has the original light. Indeed, that Ishwar has another name, namely Surya, literally meaning sun, because he is the real sun who has made the sun. So somebody is maker of the sun who is really the real bright source of light. At this point, we are talking about physical light. That is so important for our eyes to see. So before He sends us into this world, He ensures that there is a bright sun shining, and He makes it just in time, and that fireball that we call the sun is burning every moment. Not that there is any oxygen there, it is not the process of fission like we are familiar with the coal, petroleum fuel, wood, and other cellulose flammable products, but that is what is called fission, where the fine radicals fine, are rapidly mixing, joining each other, and in process releasing huge amount of energy for billions of years. It has done it and it will continue to do it next some more billions of years. So he is the maker of the sun and all other bright stars and galaxies, and he is the original source of the light. Like the moon is borrowing the light of the sun is actually borrowing the light of the that supreme being who is Hiranyagarbha. Samavatat Agge. There are two terms here, Samavartata and Agge. Agge is before, even before this universe came into being, like even before I came into being, I was in my mother's womb. So even before this universe came into existence, it all was in the womb of that supreme being who existed before that. Like my mother was there before I came into being. So Samavartata, he was existent, ever existent, before all this came into being. And that is what is specified. Bhutasya jata. All this grand universe made out of Panchabhut has been brought into existence by him. As we know it, in our household, so many things we can see around, nobody will say anything came into existence by itself. One day it didn't exist, and on the next day it comes into existence, and somebody, if he is trying to say it just came out of blue, nobody will accept it. Somebody has made it. Everything has been made by a conscious being. A desk, the wooden desk, by a carpenter, and so on and so forth. There is always a human conscious being who has made all the things that we call as the man-made world. The same thing, we cannot have double standards. The same thing must apply to the natural world, what human beings haven't made. That part of the natural world, the stars and galaxies, the sun and the moon, the earth with all its plants and trees, rivers and mountains, air and water and whatnot, all kinds of vegetation made by that supreme being, Hiranyagarbha Bhutasya Jataha. That's the meaning of Bhutasya Jata. It's all visible world which we can get to know through our five senses. Pati ekaya asit. Pati is owner, Swami, one who owns it, one who exercises ultimate authority. In any governing system, there is a final, ultimate authority, final arbiter, whose decision has to prevail. That Hiranyagarbha is in that nature, whose authority prevails over the entire universe, all the material particles, as well as we all, tiny conscious beings. It was his decision that I should be born in a particular family on a particular day and time. This is he has decided, and we have no way to do it otherwise. So he rules over Panchabhut, all the material particles, as well as all the conscious beings, and his authority is final. So his nature and function is being described that obviously every intelligent human being ought to connect to him. Like every child must connect to his mother and father, every adult human being must learn to connect to him. Further, the second half, Sadadhara Prithivim Dhyam Ut Imam. So is a pronoun he. That is interesting. In the Vedic terminology, that supreme being is always referred to as Sa, like Sapayaga Chukramakayam, Sadadhara Prithivim. Sa is like he, or in the neutral gender as Tat. Om Tat Chakshudev Hitam Purastat Chukramucha. Tat Chakshu, or in Om Tat Sat. Tat is like that, Sa is like he. So this is both the words have a connotation as if this is something not so easily perceptible. Otherwise, we wouldn't say that, we will say this. Instead of saying this, we are saying that. Though he is the maker of the whole universe, he is all pervading, he is everywhere, but cannot be perceived through my five sensory organs. I can perceive, take cognizance of all that is happening in the material world through my five senses, but cannot get to know him through those same five senses. His direct perception, what is called pratyaksh, is not made possible through five senses, as is as we are accustomed to when it comes to all the things in the world. We have to go further deeper, not even at the level of mind, even deeper than that. That's what we mentioned. Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. When all the functions of our mind are subdued, then I get to know him direct. Me and him, we are together in that tiny cave inside. That is what is Yoga Abhyas. That is what is Upasana Yoga. And that is the way I can get to know him. That's why he is always he or that. I can never say this for him. He is not so easily perceptible. Like I can see the desk, the books, the chair, so many things in this room. I cannot show that to anybody else in such a manner. That is the significance of the pronoun he or that for him. Sa or tat. Then it is said Sa da dha. The root is dha, to hold something, dharan. But as you know probably, in Sanskrit grammar, the root can go through declension in many ways. Particularly, they are called as 10 methods, lakar. So here this is past tense, but it is parokshe lit lakar. This is deep in past that we are not even familiar with. I can say, yesterday my friend came to meet me because I was also there yesterday. But if somebody says 4,000 years ago this happened, he wasn't there, I wasn't there 4,000 years ago. This is deep in past, which we are not, nobody saw it at that time. But probably there is some evidence. Based on that, he is telling me something that seemed to have happened 4,000 years ago. That is called as parokshe lit. And then there is a Sanskrit grammar. The root, is particularly its consonant, has a duplication. It comes twice. So dha becomes da dha. So emphasis here is sadadhaya prithvim. He is holding this earth today. He was holding it yesterday also, and also deep in past when none of us were there. That is the significance of parokshe litlakar. That it is not that only today he is holding the earth, he is supporting the earth. He has been doing it since the universe came into existence. And of course, we are told, which is correct, by the forces of what is called gravitational forces. Somebody can say, even a high school student can say, the earth is supported by the sun, which is quite a correct statement, though it is not a complete statement. It is not the whole truth. It is partially truthful statement. Yes, the sun, by virtue of its gravitational pull, ensures that the earth revolves around its orbit around the sun, completing one full orbit in 1 year, 365 days, few hours and few minutes, and so on and so forth. But then the question arises, what is supported by the sun? How is sun supported? Then we will say our entire solar system is in a particular galaxy called Milky Way. And there is a particular central body there. And our entire solar system is rotating around that central point of the Milky Way galaxy. But then the question will arise, how is that Milky Way, how is that galaxy supported? So this argument goes on. It has to end somewhere. And then we say, all this is supported by that supreme consciousness called Hiranyagarbha. There is another way to look at it. Like somebody says, the earth is supported by the gravitational pull of the sun. Then another question arises. Why does this force exist at the play? Why sun must exercise gravitational pull towards itself and hold these planets like Earth and the Mars and all other planets in a particular orbit? Who made it happen? How could it have happened? Is it the sun, which is an inert body? How could sun decide? Or how could sun and the earth together decide? Let's follow this particular law, namely that of gravitational force. It's not easy. So when we say that Hiranyagarbha, Supreme Being, is supporting all the planets and galaxies in their particular orbits, the way they are functioning, according to certain laws of the nature, they are following a particular law of the nature. We can say natural laws, but we must appreciate when there is a law, there has to be a lawmaker, some intelligent being who has made the law. And also, there has to be an agency to enforce the law. And that is what is, we have read it out in the first line, Patiyeka Asit. He has the authority. He has the authority to make the laws and ensure that every material particles follows this law, namely law of the gravitational force and other natural laws, the nuclear forces and so on and so forth. So he's the lawmaker as well as law enforcer for the overall good of us, and we are also following a particular law called as law of karma. So there are natural laws for the material particles, and there is law of karma for my particular consciousness. And of course, this life, this particular human body frame that I'm residing in, is following the natural laws also. So my body and mind domains are made of particles that follow the natural laws of mechanics and other natural laws. And me, the owner of this body and mind, owner in a very partial sense, I am user, so to say, end user. I don't quite own my body because I can be asked to leave any moment for the time being, as long as I have them. He's the original, ultimate owner of all that exists in the universe. He decides how things should behave. So we were discussing Sadadhara Prithvim, Dhyam Ut Imam. Prithvi and Dewlok, the sun, the earth and sun, make an interesting dipole. Of course, we have seen that earth is supported by the sun. Not only the sunlight, that continuous sunlight, the transfer of energy from the sun to the earth makes it possible that we can survive. So, our sustenance is not just merely the support, like I'm sitting on a chair and chair is supported by the earth. Not only this support, which is instantaneously there, even for sustenance, for my life force to function, I need to have food, and that is grown by the earth due to the process of photosynthesis, which happens due to sunlight, etc. So the whole entire mechanism is there for me to be able to sustain my life on this earth. So Prithvi and Dew, or many occasions in the Vedas we see Dhyava Prithvi. This is a dipole that has to be considered together. So here, when the things are described, even before we all came into being, that Hiranyagarbha had made the earth, and not just the earth alone, earth and the sun both, Utimam and all other heaven, all other planets and stars and galaxies. Just like my mother and father built a house before I was to arrive in the world. They plan it out everything that the child will need such and such things. In the same manner, before we humans came into existence, and other animals, birds, etc., all other beings, he made the and there is a ending which will be common in next this as well as the next three more months. The last quarter is same in the second, third, fourth, and fifth month, and it goes like Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhem. Talking about pronouns for that supreme being, there is an interesting pronoun ka, literally meaning who. This is a question mark, who, and it is very unusual. Such a term like ka, that means who, should be carrying the meaning of that Hiranyagarbha. But that's the language here. So the last quarter says, Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhem. Literally, it would mean who is that being who is a Devata also. Kasmai and Devaya both are in what is called a Chaturthi Ekvachan, dative case. Kasmai Devaya, or which Devata, Havisha Vidhem, we should offer our something with deep devotion. A child cannot have anything more than deep feelings towards his mother and father. That Havisha Vidhem. So literally there is a question, which devata, which dev and devata are synonyms. Which dev should be offered our devoted feelings? Obviously, the answer has been given previously. The preceding words were the answer. And now the question is framed at the end. This is a literary style to explain the virtues and qualities of a supreme being who has been referred here as Hiranyagarbha, and in the previous, the first one, the last session we saw, he was referred as Savita Dev. Today, that Hiranyagarbha and his characteristics have been described, and then question has been posed: who is that Dev to him, to whom we should offer our devoted devotion, all such devoted offerings, Havisha with him. So you had already discussed in the context of Sadhadha that in the Vedic terminology, he is referred to by the pronouns such as sa and tat, he and that. And now we are saying there is another word, namely kah, who, for that supreme being. Very interesting. And Dayanand has at one place even stated, like he would say, Sa means that